So I'm working on the Dominator. Basically got everything gutted out of the inside of it. This was my stuffing tube that I had made. If you really want to see the angle that I have in it, it's enough to where the solid stock shaft would go through it. Now this is a stuffing tube that is made for the Impulse 32. Very, very similar angle, a little bit longer in total length, but the stock shaft will not go through it because it has a Teflon liner. Now this is also slightly bigger. I believe where this measures like 8 mil right here. See how I've got them soldered together? I've got like an 8 mil here and then maybe a 7 mil here and 8 mil on the end. That way it adapts to all the proper adapters for the Dominator. See how that fits in there nice and tight? You couldn't do that if you used the smaller stuffing tube. And I wasn't running a liner in it. So what my thoughts are, this is the stock Impulse flex shaft, and this is the flex shaft out of the Dominator. So the Dominator's, let me show you on here, the Dominator's end is a solid end that gets held with 2 grub screws. We're going to set this one right here, and we're going to compare it to the Impulse. We're going to set them side by side, both end to end, end to end. They are identical in size and length. Now this is for a collet style, and this is for the 2 grub screws. But because the end of this doesn't bend for quite a bit there, it doesn't go through this tube. It just won't fit. That solid piece here, it won't fit through the bend. So it's been a few days. I've got my Dominator, I got the holes all filled here in the back. And here is the stuffing tube. This is the Impulse 32 stuffing tube. So this was the stuffing tube here that I had made custom. And it has roughly the same bend in it. But this tube here is bigger. Now what I had to do, I had to cut off about 3/4 of an inch of the original stuffing tube, which here's the piece I cut off. And we're gonna have this sitting out of the back of the hull like so. Now here is the barrel for the strut, and this fits perfectly inside the barrel. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to basically have the brass part of the stuffing tube sit flush with the transom on the boat here, and then only that piece of the stuffing tube is going to sit out. So check it out. So right there you can see I got the stuffing tube basically flush, and I just used some clear silicone to kind of seal it up, and then the liner right there sticking out. I'm going to show you what's on the inside. So on the inside, where that bracket is, the stuffing tube diameter was just a smidge small. So what I had to do, all I did was take a like one of them wire heat shrinks, fit perfectly over the tube, and it basically gave me the distance I needed to make it a little bit firmer, and then I just tightened it up and it snugged it right on up. So the motor mount, we're going to use the middle screw, and then we're going to do a back ring support for the SVM motor. Well, got the SVM motor all installed, 2130 kV. 4092 can. Basically I redid this a little bit, you know. I had to only do 1 screw on the front mount, but at least we get some cooling on the front of the motor there. We can slide the cooling can back further. Got the back ring support. Everything's tightened up. I had to mount the Xlx2. I went ahead and used these. OSE sells these 90-degree angle fittings for the Xlx2. They actually fit the Hydra 8S too, but you have to cut one of the barbs off, just because the 2 pieces are so close together. But yeah, TFL Stinger is all mounted. Looks good. The barrel actually comes out another, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch further than the stock barrel. Yeah, turned out really, really nice. See if I can. It doesn't give you a super large amount of upward trim. I'm gonna say you get maybe 1.5 degrees. If you wanted any more, you know, upward trim, you would have to go in here and I think you could manipulate the nut on the back of this and take that off or grind it down a little bit, and then you could be able to tighten that in a little bit more to trim it up just a smidge more. But so this right here, the cooling, this is just for testing. I've already ordered a new TFL rudder. The new rudder is going to be a dual intake. You can tell I've taken off the water pickups. That way we ain't got to worry about those. If the rudder's going to drag and going to catch water the entire time, and the tubes, you might as well just get a rudder that doesn't have any pickups. But in this case, I wanted to take the pickups off and just use a dual rudder, because I get really good flow out of the rudder that I have on the Impulse, and all we got to do is just get a dual pickup rudder with dual prongs. So right now I'm just going to use this just for testing purposes out in the pond and see how it goes. But I got to go ahead and get into the Castle link app now, and since this is a D-wind motor, I got to go ahead and adjust that down to 0 degrees timing. Alright, I had to pull the Xlx2 out because it was giving me a fit. I do not know what is going on, but I ended up putting the Hydra X8S in just to see if maybe it was my receiver or what. I had this problem the other night. I ended up fixing it, got it working, put it in the boat, and it's giving me the problem again. Went online, found something, they talked about a throttle potentiometer, maybe something in here. But what it is when I'm trying to link it up at the very beginning at the startup, I let it go through its beeps, and when I go to hit the throttle, nothing happens. And I can even go into the settings, make sure this is zeroed out. I made sure that in the app it was set on normal, not reverse mode. 0, I took the battery cutoff, turned it off. I went through all the things, every possibility it says online of trying it, and it just won't work. Sometimes the red light will blink. Other times it'll do the 2-second startup green light. I can hold the trigger, let it get to the yellow light, I'll let go. And then it'll just stay on the yellow light, and no matter if I hit the trigger or not, nothing happens. So I don't know what it is. But the same receiver, X8S, and it works. So I got to go ahead now. We're going to put the prop on it, and then we're going to take it out for a run. So if anybody's got any ideas what's going on with the Hydra, or if they have any setup problems where the trigger won't work, please leave a comment in the comment section, because I don't know, it's frustrating me to the end of my wits. All right, now since we're running the Castle Hydra X8S, this is a 4092 SVM 2130 kV motor. I really wanted to use the Xlx2 with this, but I've been frustrated with it for about 8 hours. I'm just going to run it like this just to get the data. I really want to see how this new TFL Stinger does. I've removed the cooling, and I've got a new rudder on the way, so I really got to make sure that I get cooling since I've got this crazy little split thing going on here. So I'm not really going to drive it like talking about. I've just got a little 45 by 1.4 Oxidean prop on it, and I need to discharge my batteries, so I've got 2 sets that I need to discharge. So I'm just out here to have some fun, pull some data, and see how that motor performs. That's better. The driveline is so much smoother with the Impulse 32 stuffing tube. Uh-oh. Something happened there. Oh. It took the barrel and it spun the barrel. So what I need to do, okay, let's go ahead and open it up. Spin my cable. Woo, yeah, spin my cable in the collet. I can tell. Damn it, boy. Okay, I got it all fixed. I put a new collet on it, and what I realized was I didn't have it super tight, and I had put some oil on it, and the oil got in it, and it just was a whole nightmare. And I really tighten this down. So let's get out and try it again. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Once I work out all the bugs, I think it'll run really good. Need to just be easy on it. Need to drag it by here in the other direction to make sure I got some sort of cooling. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I got cooling. Okay, good. She is a rocket ship, y'all. Wow, all I can say is, oh my God, it's fast. I've yet to be able to give it at least 50% throttle on the remote. I really need that that double cooling rudder on it. I want to give a shout out to Ironclad Big B. He was listening to my video and he could tell that my motor wasn't winding up. And basically he explained to me that there's a setting in the remote that you would think 100 means 100%, but it's not. My throttle was set at 120 and 150 is 100%. So every run I've ever done with this boat has never been on 100%. And I was able to figure that out with the data log. The data log says max throttle I've ever hit was 94%. So I was still leaving some on the table. Holy crap. Oh my God, this thing is crazy. I'm still only giving it, let's see. What is that, 70 out of 150? Like a little under 50% throttle? Okay, I heard it hit LVC. I got LVC set at 3.2, which when you near full throttle and you hit 3.2, that means your batteries are down to 3.8 is what I've learned anyways. Okay, I don't feel any warmth coming out of the hull, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and open it up. My dumb self didn't tighten my damn my collet up before I came out here last time, and that's why she spun. Not bad, not bad. I don't know if I'm reading the wire temp or the ESC temp. I'm gonna say the ESC. Typically, whatever you're reading here, add 10 to 15 to it. So I'm sure the internal ESC temp's about 130. Wire temp is 120. See the motor temp. Okay, motor temp 155. Okay. I love that little front cooler. It's gonna cool down a lot better once I get it set up right. This thing's really killing my cooling because I'm running it through here, through the motor, and then out and back. So yeah, it is what it is. My batteries have slid forward too, but yeah, okay. Well, yeah, Xlx2 guys, if y'all can help me out on that, I'm having a problem with it binding to throttle. I never had the issue. The last video I used it in was at the lake. I brought it home and I haven't been able to get it to work ever since. You know, no issues at the lake, but you know, now all of a sudden it won't work. And this is the same receiver I was trying to hook it up to, so I don't know what the deal is with it. I think I may have had a setting wrong where I had it in the reverse mode, and I read online you better have it in normal mode and flip your wires. So at least I understood that. Maybe I burned up something by running it in reverse mode. I don't know. You know, didn't even know that was a thing. But yeah. But yeah, so Impulse 32 stuffing tube. This thing got a really, really smooth driveline on it now. Let's listen to it. Oh my God, so smooth. I've never heard it that smooth before. Okay, now quick discussion about this run and everything that I've done to the boat. The first time out, this right here, which is like the motor coupler, the solder that I had put on the end of the flex cable, when it had slipped, the solder had heated up and it seemed like it had melted and stuck in all the grooves of this. I'm not sure if this is bad or not, but I just said screw it. I replaced it, put a new one on it, took it out, and it did just fine. I think it slipped because I had tried to put oil down in with the grease, and I think when I started to drive, it spun the oil up into, you know, this, and that's what made it slip. Plus I didn't have it like honked down real tight either. Now I got a little bit higher amperage on that period of time because I guess the end of the TFL Stinger came out, binded it up. We all know that. Now I'm going to read off what I got. So the first time out, 2.19 ripple, max amps 298, max watts 6,360, which equates to 8.52 horsepower, 49,000 RPM. Now, can't really go by those numbers just because we had an issue. The second time out, didn't have any issues, ran the boat for roughly 2 minutes. We got a lot higher ripple voltage because I was able to get down on it. 3.52, which when we start talking about 6S, that is above the recommended 10% limit. So 10%, 2.2, or anything below that on ripple voltage is supposed to be okay. I'm going to say this thing definitely needs the Xlx2. Since it's the SVM motor, it's going to pull that much on the battery, and also probably would be good to have the SRD packs, something with a really, really high C rating. Now the second trip out, we got 284 amps. So we actually got less amps and higher ripple voltage. And I think what it was because when it binded up the first time, the amps went way up. So that's why my amps are a little bit lower this time, because I got faster, higher RPM, which 51,000 RPM. In the ESC temperature, what we were measuring outside is 110. Internal ESC temperature was 158. So there's a big difference between measuring the outside cooling jacket of an ESC and the theoretical inside temperature based off of the you know, the calculations that coming through the B-Link. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go over that with y'all. I ran a really base setting, you know, 4514 CNC prop, neutral, strut position, trying to just get some data to understand, to see if this SVM motor was capable of being pushed by the X8S. I don't think it is. I would risk burning it up since I really didn't give it that much of you know, of throttle. Yeah, I did blip it full throttle maybe 3 times, and that's essentially where these max numbers came from. But the rest of the run looks pretty good, around the 180 to 210 amp range. And then when I really just hold down the throttle for that 1.5 seconds distance of the pond, she spikes up. But it may be different when you're out on the lake, but I really got to get that Xlx2. So if anybody could comment any issues y'all may have with the Xlx2 not binding, or if you want me to make a video on it and show it, I will do that. Just leave a comment in the comment section. So
Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, and I will see y'all on the next one.